So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot. Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
No, you're not.
Hey.
Hi, and welcome back to another edition of the LaTangela Show podcast. You know, it does my heart well to have this time together. And today I'm in here with my honorary family, right? Because I inherited this guy through the beautiful Mink. And let me tell you, this guy is a guy that holds it all together. He is like the quiet amidst the storms. And he doesn't typically have a lot to say, but when he says it, it makes all the sense in the world. Most times. Unless he's criticizing me about my parking. I may not be the best, but to let him tell it, I am amongst the worst. How are you, Jay Gaudet?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm even better now that I have you in the hot seat and on the tan line. First things first, congratulations. This new book, You're Not Broke, You're Broken.
Thank you.
I am extremely proud because I know that this has been a labor of love for you, and you put so much of your heart into this. And knowing you, I can only imagine that some of these chapters we're really going to dive into, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I can ask questions.
Let's get
You're going to give me answers.
Let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. Now, tell me a little bit about the inspiration of even wanting to be transparent enough to ink a story and to be able to share that.
So when I first started writing the book, I want to say back in 2022, you know, me and my wife, we've been in business since 2015.
Serial entrepreneurs.
And had a lot of ups and downs. We did what we would call, we had exponential growth early on in our business. We went from making $800 a month in our business to $60,000 a month and within 2 years.
Wow.
And 2 years after that, you know, I found myself paying my light bill out of a Kenwood job.
Yeah.
So I had to ask myself, you know, I saw, especially during COVID, so many people you had so many gurus teaching people how to make money. And I'm like, making money is not the problem. You know, technically all of us make money, whether you work a job, whether you entrepreneur, whatever you're doing, you're getting some kind of money, whether you like the money you're getting or not.
Mm-hmm.
But keeping the money and knowing what to do with the money was the issue. Making the money actually work for you, serve you, and you not actually serving the money.
Now that's deep in itself.
You know what I'm saying?
Letting the money serve you and you not be a servant to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of us fall into that, which is survival. Most of us have been taught to use money to survive, not to produce. So I basically, my inspiration was just taking my own failures when it came to money and putting it into something I thought that people really needed to understand, a foundational aspect of what it is to actually build wealth.
Do you know how hard that is, though? Because now, especially with the instant gratification, people are on Insta and they want to show you the highlights. They want to show you this perfection, and nobody wants to talk about what could be a failure, but it's really a lesson.
Right.
Or even, you know, exposing a lifestyle. You say you went from 800 to 60,000 a month and then going back to trying to figure it out from. Okay, but that's a level of transparency that people typically don't want to walk you through.
Right.
And not just for yourself, but for your wife too. Because with that comes a lot of static. Outside of trying to figure it out in the home, now you're exposing it to people who may not have wanted to see that type of lifestyle for you in the first place.
Especially for a man.
Okay, and let's take it there. Because before you even got to the point of inking this, as a man, you had to have that conversation, I'm imagining, with your wife,
Mm-hmm.
because she's a big part of your story.
Well, that, you know, so we had that conversation. I said, I'm like, babe, you know, I got to understand. I had to figure out what was the emotional, the emotional connection that I had with money. What was my personal relationship with money? You know, as a teenager, I hustled, then went to college, you know, and started a career. So like I said, I had no issue with getting money, but I did have an issue with keeping money. But I had to figure out, like, what was my real issue? And it came from my childhood. You know, I was a spender. Like, we didn't save in my household.
Okay.
My mama literally told me, there's never going to be enough money to save. So think about that mindset, what we call money scripts. Those are the theories that you grow up, what you believe about money, usually coming from your environment and what was taught to you. So my wife, she came from a household where my father-in-law was very frugal. He worked a regular job,
Yeah.
but he had money. He wasn't rich, he wasn't hitting licks, so he didn't have money just coming from different places. He worked a regular job and he saved money. And he only spent money that made sense to him.
Right.
So she knew how to save, right? So when we get together, I like the nice things. I come from, a family full of women. They like designer. They gonna do that. So I'm like, well, look, the money coming in, we gonna spend it. That's how it's supposed to go. Now I'm getting with my wife, and she a save, and she come from now. We supposed to save money. I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. But my money script is fun.
Right.
So guess what? It overtake what she got going on. It overtake all of the morals and values that she was taught on how to actually handle money, because we go from in the highlight of us being in business real early in our marriage. We're making $60,000-$70,000 a month. We literally living out a suitcase. We traveling every week.
Right.
We got 5 cars. We just living, right?
Not thinking about saving.
Even though she know better.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, look, what this dude, like we living it up. That's what he know. That's what we doing. But until it actually crash and burn, because I haven't developed the training. I didn't develop the training to actually use that money, that when I was making the money like that, to set my family up for the future.
You're not broke, you're broken. How to move past your financial failures. Because that's the big script. That would have been enough to devastate a person, to wreck a marriage, to say, you know what, it's done. It was fun while it lasted. Peace. I'm out. I'm going to take my suitcase and I'm done, because when you know better, you do better. And that's what you were thinking. And it was fun until it was not. So how did you figure out the point that this is how I'm going to move us past these financial failures?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest part of having a good partner. Having those pillow talk conversations of just like, we actually know better. We did this, so are we going to keep doing the same thing? So let's go back to the basics, because like me and her always talk, God ain't give us no short of no good ideas. So He gonna keep giving them to us. But if we don't change the way that we look at this, if we don't change our behavior, then it don't matter how much money we make. We could go make $1 million a day, we're gonna end up in the same situation.
Right.
So it's really going about being reflective. And me as a man, I had to actually understand where I came from and where it came from. So I had to actually take accountability myself, regardless if she was a participant. I had to take accountability and say, this was me, I did this, and I gotta fix this.
And how to move forward from there. You have a chapter in here, and I got questions that need answers. The shoebox. A lot of us, we have our safe spaces, and maybe even that little space that we go for X, Y, and Z. But what is it about this shoebox?
So the shoebox had a lot of meaning in multiple ways. So I sold drugs from the time I was 16 to 22.
Wow.
A year actually before me and her met was when I really stopped, because I got into a situation and could have lost my life or my freedom. And I promised God that I was going to walk away, and that was going to be the end of it.
That's the book in itself, Jay.
And so when I first started hustling, most hustlers keep their money in a shoebox. But the shoebox is also for that person that saves money with no intent. So the person that, I'm saving, and saving is a good behavior. But money should always be looked at as a tool. So if you're saving it because you are insecure, or you feel like you're going to be broke again one day, you're still broken. You know what I'm saying? Your money is not serving you. So the shoebox is really for that person that if you hustling, you keeping the money in the shoebox, it's not earning nothing. It ain't making no money. It's not earning no interest. It's not doing nothing for you. If it's in there too long, it can start getting mold. So it can start molding, mildewing, deteriorating. It can't help you. That person that's hoarding money because they're fearful, they're scared to live, they don't want to take their family out to eat. You're not going to take your wife on a date. You ain't going to buy no nice things for your kids, because you are literally fearful that if you spend any money, you're going to end up back in a situation that you don't want to be in.
Yeah. I mean, that could be a trigger. Because you know how it is to have, and you know how it is not to have. And nobody's really just out here giving it, not just the money, but the education as of how to do better. And then once they give it, you have to be receptive to that as well. And I really applaud you for sharing the stories and being so transparent, because when people see those who aren't so far removed and those that they can relate to and those who would be honest enough to say, I lost it and it hurt. It did not feel good. I could have lost my life. I could have lost my freedom. I could have lost my wife. It's like that's a lot of failure in itself.
Yeah.
So realizing that and doing better, it didn't just happen overnight, and it still took a lot of work to get there. So what keeps you inspired to even want to pay this forward and to create those different opportunities and programs for youth?
So, I have this what I call a movement. It's called a free life. And basically, it's about understanding how you want to live your life on your terms for the
Yeah.
rest of your life. Everybody should have a number that frees them. And the time that the things that you're doing should be working towards that number. Whatever that number is, that's going to actually free you. And free you doesn't mean that you ain't gonna get no money or you're not gonna work. What it does mean is that you're not required to earn money to live your life.
Right.
And it's not going to change the lifestyle that you created for yourself or your family. So whatever that lifestyle looks like for you, whether it's uh the most frugal of terms or the highest life that you want to live, whatever that look like for you, living it on your terms and freely to where you're not in bondage to a mortgage, to the cardinal people. You're not in bondage to
Yeah.
make sure that you got to go out there and hustle every day to maintain what you've acquired. And that's been my motivation. My motivation is that I want to be able to live life. I want to be able to get up every single day, and whatever God tells me He wants me to do that day, I'm able to go do.
You know how tough that is in an instant gratification type society? People don't mind getting the big houses and being house poor.
Mhm.
They'll go out there, they'll ride fly, don't have insurance. If the tire goes flat, can't get another tire because, it's a part of the stuntastic lifestyle that they may envision instead of the level of comfort or even living in the reality of saying, you know what, who are you stunting for?
Right.
Who are you being this uncomfortable for? Is it you? Because some people may have that ego that they have to feed themselves to where if I'm not riding this way or if I'm not living this way, I'm not happy. And that's another term. That's a different beast in itself.
Yeah.
So once you start sharing these stories and you start talking, especially to those who need to hear it, they'll find it and they'll be more receptive to it. But to those who have to keep bumping their heads against that brick wall, eventually, there's a safe space for you to land. You're not broke. You're broken. And there's definitely a way to move past your financial failures. And within these chapters and within all of the programs that you and your wife, you travel and you talk to others about and you help them build their businesses, I've seen the work that you support her with, even with her summits and her empowerment sessions, and knowing that, it takes a team to be able to do something like this. That speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And I applaud you both for this. But let me tell you, you're not broke. You're
Well,
broken.
let me say this too, Tam, on what you just said, though. Most people don't realize is that the woman is the foundational piece when it comes to building a family financially.
Right.
If you empower a woman financially, you're going to empower the whole household. And the reason I say it is because as men, we look at money differently. We'll go out there and we'll take some risks, especially if we know how to get money. We look at it with what the money is going to do for us.
Yeah.
Sometimes selfishly, but a woman can look at it objectively because they're going to look at how is it going to be impactful, and then how is it going to impact my children? How is it going to impact the rest of my family? How is it going to impact my husband or my spouse? Right?
Yeah.
So they're like the foundation of when you empower a woman financially, it's going to transition to the whole household because I might have a thought process on what we're going to do with this money, but then I might go talk to her. She's like, nah, these are the tentacles that it's going to actually serve. I'm only looking at it in one or two dimensions.
Yeah.
But then after we talk about it as a partnership, now it's going to actually serve 10 of these dimensions. You know what I'm saying? So what you said is correct. And really, it's the foundation of why I'm supportive of a lot of the stuff that she does that way is for that reason.
Absolutely. And if you don't read anything else, it's the fourth generation for me. It's inside this book, inside these chapters. And I'm waiting on part 2, part 3, part 4. I'm waiting on the book tour. I'm waiting on the seminars. And I'm looking forward to all of the great things that you do. You're not broke, you're broken. How to move past your financial failures. It's available right now. Why wait for a stocking stuffer when you can go ahead and get it and flip through these pages and be well on your way by the time we have to get stocking stuffers? Look, I know you got more work to do. So I'm going to let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.